Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this is the iPad Air 5th Gen. Here I have the brand new blue color, but we also have a few other color options: space gray, pink, purple, and starlight. So let's unbox this, set it up, I'll talk about what's new, and then also before we get started, this video is sponsored by Anker. Now this comes in at $5.99 or $7.49 depending on the storage, 64 or 256 gigabytes. You can see this is the 64 gigabyte model, and if you want cellular on top of just Wi-Fi, it's an additional $149. Now let's go ahead and unbox this. And I also have the new Smart Folio Case here that's in this new color, marine blue. So it's a blue, but marine blue is what Apple calls it. So let's go ahead and open this up. So we'll pull this off here. You'll see on the side we have a blue iPad Air writing or text there. And let's go ahead and take it out of the box. Now I have the 4th gen to compare, as this is not a new design as far as the body goes. There we go. But it is a newer version. So let's take it out of the box here. We'll set this aside just for a moment and let's see what's in the box. So inside we have a little pamphlet here. It just says welcome to iPad Air. And there's a few other things in here, but it's kind of stuck. There we go. So we just have a warranty card and then 2 Apple stickers, but they don't match the iPad. I wish Apple would match these as they do on maybe the iMac or other products, but right now they don't. So let's put this away and take a closer look at what's in the box. So as you can see here, we have a USB-C to USB-C cable, just like you would expect. And then we also have Apple's charger that's included in the box. It's 20 watts, so that's what comes with it. Now let's set that aside and take a closer look at the iPad itself. So here's the iPad. Let's go ahead and open it up. Now I haven't seen this color in person, so we'll compare it with the last generation blue. And here you can see the new blue color. So let's go around the outside edge and take a closer look at it. So on the right-hand side, as you would expect, we have our volume buttons. On the top, you have your Touch ID button, as well as your power sleep wake. You have 2 speakers, but one of these is sort of a resonating chamber. So we have a microphone in the middle, one's a resonance chamber, and then on the other side, or the bottom, again, the same sort of resonance chamber speaker layout with USB-C. So nothing on the other side. Now, if you had the cellular model, you would have a SIM card tray option as well. So on the back, you can see we have the Pogo pin or smart connector adapter. This allows for things like the Magic Keyboard. And then also below the volume button, we also have the spot for the Apple Pencil. Now, this time around, it does support 5G. So on certain models, you'll have antenna lines with 5G antennas as well. Now, as far as the color is concerned, side by side with the last generation, you can see here on the left, I have the 4th generation iPad Air. On the right is the 5th. So we're a little bit darker blue or a deeper blue color. This time around, it's almost like Apple took Pacific blue and put it on this generation, where Sierra blue was on the last generation. So it's sort of, they flipped it compared to the iPhone 12 Pro and 13 Pro. So that kind of gives you an idea of what they look like. They have a nice look as you tilt them in the different light as well. So not too much different as far as the form factor goes. Now, before we set this up and talk about what's new, maybe you want a charger that charges multiple devices at once. That's where the official charging partner of Zollotech comes in, Anker. This is the Anker 521 or Nano Pro, and it's the latest in the Nano Pro lineup. It charges the latest Apple devices faster and smarter. It has a 40-watt maximum charging speed, which is double the power of the original 20-watt charger. It can charge your MacBook Air at full speed from either port, or you can connect an iPad Air and an iPhone and charge them at full speed. The Nano Pro has Active Shield, which is an all-new safety system that offers enhanced protection. It monitors temperature, and a power tuner chip adjusts to ensure maximum power output. Anker 521 Nano Pro comes in 4 fresh finishes: Arctic White, Black Ice, Glacier Blue, and Cool Lavender. Anker's best-selling single-port 511 Nano Pro is still available and now comes in a new pink color. And if you'd like to pick one up, be sure to check them out in the description below. Now, as far as this device, let's go ahead and turn it on. And again, we'll talk about what's new. So we'll boot it up here, and there we go. And the display is the same as last year. I must have had this in landscape as it's booting up with the Apple in landscape, but the display is 2360 by 1640 with 264 pixels per inch. it goes up to 500 nits. So pretty much the exact same as last year as far as that goes. However, there's a couple updates internally. So we now have the M1 processor with 8 gigabytes of RAM, 5G capability, and then the rear camera is the same 12 megapixel f1.8 aperture camera. It has 4K video up to 60 frames per second, but no HDR, but adds extended dynamic range for video up to 30 frames per second. But the forward-facing camera is the big update as far as this goes as well. We have a 12 megapixel front camera with center stage. It adds 2 times zoom out and also has that extended dynamic range for video up to 30 frames per second. So that's what we've got inside this. Also, we have 10 hours of battery life according to Apple. So let's go ahead and turn it back on. We'll swipe up and get it set up. So we'll hit English, select your country or region, and we can set it up manually or bring a phone or iPad nearby to get it set up. So we'll do that. So just like an iPhone, you can set it up by scanning this with your phone. So we'll get this set up and finished here. We'll let it link, and then we'll continue through the setup process. Now we do have Touch ID on this device, so we'll hit continue, and we can place our finger on the top and get this set up. So just like Touch ID on the phone, if you're using an iPhone SE or maybe an iPhone 8 Plus or something like that with Touch ID, it's very similar, works just as well. And you'll see it says capture all of your fingerprint. Keep going, and you can kind of turn it around just like when you set it up on an iPhone the first time. So that was nice and quick. Let's go ahead and hit continue. Now it says add another fingerprint. We can do that. Maybe I'll do that for this fingerprint on the left here real quick. Now it's asking if I want to make this your new iPad. I don't want to move everything. I'll just customize settings here and set it up as just a basic new iPad and then put things on it as I desire later on. So we'll hit continue, keep it up to date. We'll hit continue. Now it's asking if I want to be in the beta program. Since the device I paired with was on it, I'm not going to continue the beta on this one. So we'll hit next and then get started on welcome to new iPad. So this is the basic setup. So you'll see it's fully set up at this point. And let's go ahead and see what we've got as far as the iOS or iPadOS version that's installed. So we'll go to settings, then we'll go to general. We're already at general. We'll go to about. And just like the iPhone SE and the iPhones that are green that I showed in a different video, we have the same version, 15.4 or 19E241. Now we'll go back here and let's take a look at the wallpaper that comes with this. So we'll just rotate it here, go down to wallpaper, and then we'll run a benchmark and see what it's like. And then we'll take a look at the other accessories as well. So we'll go to wallpaper here, choose a new wallpaper, go to stills, and you can see some here. So we have a nice, really rich blue one here. So you can see that here with one of the new colors. Let me just go through the different ones. So you have a red as well. It's a nice sort of red or kind of burgundy. We've got a purple. Then we also have sort of a space gray or black one, and then also one to go with starlight. So those are all the different colors that we have available. You can see them here. Let me set this one. We'll set them for both. Give it just a moment here. Now, if you've never used one of these, you can pair an Apple Pencil very, very easily with a second gen Apple Pencil. Takes just a moment. You'll see it says welcome to Apple Pencil, and you can try out all of these things if you want, and it will just work. So that's pretty seamless on these. You can just sort of hit continue, explore double tap, what it does, and more. So that's it. Now we can use the Apple Pencil if we want to draw or just control everything with that. So that's all there is to that. Let me go ahead and install Geekbench and run some benchmarks and see what that's like as well, now that we have the M1 inside of this. Now both iPads are running iPadOS 15.4, but you can see the 4th generation on the left and the 5th generation on the right. The scores are significantly different. Where the iPad Air 4th gen has 1,589 for single core, the 5th gen has 1,705. For multi-core, the 4th gen has 4,209, the 5th gen has 6,303. And we also have the benefit of double the RAM. So we have 8 gigabytes of RAM on the new 5th gen, where we had 4 on the 4th gen. So that's one of the differences here. So we're not really sure what we'll be able to use all of that for, but it does make a difference. And you can see the difference in the wallpapers. Not too much of a difference, but this is the new wallpaper on the iPad Air. Now let's set the other one aside, the 4th gen. Now we'll bring in the Smart Folio case. Now this is an expensive case. It's $79. It's from Apple. And like I said, it's in the new color. So you just pull to open it up like that. So it kind of clicks into place. If you've never seen it, push down on it, pull. That's the easiest way. And let's open it up. So this is the new color. Like I said, it's the marine blue color. You can see there. And let's see what we've got. So we'll take this out of the box. And inside, it does cover the back and the front. We just have a little spacer there in between. Set that aside. And it adheres magnetically. Now, I did want to show you the magnets on the back with some magnet paper. So this is great. So it shows you where the magnets are. As I move it around, you can see all the different magnets here that help hold it to the case. And then there should be some additional ones here as well that hold it so you can set it up as a stand and more. So there's magnets all throughout this case, so that might be some of the cost for it. Then on the back of the iPad, we should have the similar sort of setup. So a bunch of magnets all around the iPad. So it's pretty much the same there. And if we spin it around, it should adhere magnetically. So that attaches, and then it just shuts off like that. So when the case is closed, it shuts off. When it's open, it turns back on. So you have that functionality. And then, of course, you can set it up as a stand, just fold it on itself, set it like this, and it will hold itself up. So they're really nice cases, but they are quite a bit pricey. So they do keep an opening for the camera as well. So now let's go to the iPad itself. And let's switch to the forward-facing camera. Now, before we look at the camera itself, let's go into the settings and take a look at what we have for options. So under the camera, for some reason, it defaults to 1080p 30. So let's change that to 4K 30 or 60 you have up to as far as an option goes. And then also video format control, so we can control that from within the camera itself. So we have those options. Then there's some others here with scene detection and more. So you can set that up if you'd like to use those. Now, as far as FaceTime calls, it will use center stage and other apps will also, but let's go into the camera and take a look at it and see what the microphones are like as well. So we're in the camera here, spin it around, and you'll see we have this little button here, and this button allows us to kind of zoom out. So if I zoom out, you'll see more of the studio here. This gives you an idea of what it looks like. And then if we go to video, again, now at the top, we have HD 30. So if we tap on this, HD 60, 720p in HD 30 or 60 for the forward-facing camera, 4K for the rear camera. Let's go ahead and hit record. And now you can see what the video looks like on the front-facing camera of the iPad Air 5th generation. You can also hear the microphones. Apple does a really good job with those. So let me know if you think it sounds as good as or better than this studio mic that I'm using here. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And so this should be really helpful where you can zoom out with center stage and just use that as your studio camera or maybe a web camera, things like that. If it's good enough for you, the microphones tend to be really good on these. So that should be great to have, just to have this lying around. And now the big question, I think, for anyone considering this or iPad Pro, if you're looking for maybe an iPad this size, this 11-inch size or 11-inch display or so, I would probably go with the Air this time around because it has the M1. The Pro, the smaller size, does not get the mini LED display. So there's not a huge advantage there. You're just lacking 2 speakers. So let's take a listen to the speakers, see what they're like on here, and see what we've got for that. So I'll install YouTube and we'll watch one of my videos quick. Now this is one of my videos that's in HDR, so I just wanted to show you that you can actually watch HDR content on this iPad. It just won't go to the super bright 1000 or 1200 nits of your iPhone or the latest iPad Pro with mini LED. So you can see we have 4K HDR or 2160p HDR, and you can watch that content here if you wanted to do that. So it just won't go as bright, but you'll be able to see it and it will look pretty nice. Now let's take a listen to the speakers. So these are some pretty impressive speakers. They went over 80 decibels and up to about 83, 84, and they sound great at the highest volume. In fact, I don't think you would be disappointed with this compared to an iPad Pro that has 4 speakers. It sounds pretty good and it's plenty loud. So that's a great thing. Of course, you get spatial audio and more if you want to use it with that. Now, there's not a whole lot more to talk about with an initial unboxing. If you want to see a full review, I'll use this for about a week before I review it, give it a fair amount of time to use it every single day, let me know if you'd like to see anything specific you haven't seen anywhere else in the comments below. Now, if you'd like to get your hands on this latest wallpaper or the other wallpapers from the iPad Air 5th generation, I'll link them in the description like I normally do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.